till I die, Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die. Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die. Tottenham till I die, Spurs die hard. Tottenham till I die.
Hello and welcome to the regular Friday edition of Spurs Diehards TTID. Tonight we'll talk a bit about the game against Copenhagen, talk about players' performances, we'll do a predictive lineup and predictive score for Man United tomorrow. And if anyone raises anything in the chat channel, we may or may not discuss that. We'll see how the time goes. I want to welcome my regular guests here, and Zeus, who's become a regular guest and friend of the show now. How are you, Zeus? How are things in Ontario?
Good. Freezing, but good.
Yeah, we have that same problem in the UK, but we usually have it. I mean, we usually get 3 months of winter and 9 months bad weather. So, like, we're lucky.
Yeah.
Steve, how is it? How is it in sunny Michigan?
Oh, well, it's absolutely raining. It's absolutely pouring down rain here in the fighting town of Flint, Michigan. First of 3 straight days of rain. Of course, it's November, so it's kind of expected. Quick shout out, though. I want to say what's up to my guy, Drew. Hopefully you're doing well, Drew. And hopefully you'll be back on Spurs Diehards TTID sooner rather than later. And of course, shout out to all my Canadian homies north of the border, and also my homies that are over there in the UK.
And Alan, you seem to be in the tropical California. You seem to be in the warmest place on the planet compared to us three. What's the temperature?
It's 21 today.
21. We hate you, Alan. We hate you.
Wait, is that 21 Celsius or Fahrenheit?
Celsius.
Okay, cool. Oh,
it's like 70 here.
Yeah.
So if you're in the chat, throw pelters at Alan and unsubscribe from his channel. Right?
Yeah, Southern California frontrunners, man.
Yeah.
Always bragging about the weather.
It never rains in sunny California, right? That's just the way the song goes, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, there's a few of you in the chat. I know it's Friday night and you should all be out on the lash and doing crazy things and wreaking havoc, basically, rather than being here. So I just want to see who's in the chat. So we got a regular friend of the show, Nita. Big up, Nita. We welcome your support. We just said we just went hunky dory.
I have no idea.
Me saying hello to everyone. It always comes up twice. Thank you for your kind words, Nita. Well, yeah, yes, Nita, it is. But with Spurs, it's a white knuckle roller coaster ride, right? So, yeah. I mean, we do get this. We do misconstrue what people say when we've got different cultures on the show.
Oh, I was just kind of curious of what she was referencing. I like Nita.
Big up MKPO 138. Don't know where you're from. You could tell us in the chat. And Paul Brown's here. Evening, Paul, regular friend of the show, and on other platforms I've seen him as well. Yeah, so, right, banners. Well, we get to start. Listen, Tuesday was the first time I had a host a win in ages. The other admins were hosting wins, and I'm thinking, when am I going to host one? I was almost too happy to host it. You know what I mean? So anyway, right, let's go to... scroll down with banners. Where are we? Right. we had this, which I was at the game. It was very enjoyable. 4-0. This was the team. Well, we talk about the goals. There was a lot of positives in this game. It was only Copenhagen. Our rivals will always ram that down his throat, but I'll celebrate any win, and a 4-0 win is pretty good. Zeus, I'll come to you first. 19 minutes. 1-0. Xavi assist. Lovely ball through to Johnson. How did he score from that angle? Go on, take it away.
Oof. Okay, I was on road, so I missed the first half of this game, to be honest. But I saw, highlights of the game. And Johnson, man, scores again. Like, he should play. No, he should not play all the time. But what can you say? Great finish. Xavi getting amongst like the GA. So yeah, came early, professional, and calmed the nerves a little bit, right? So hopefully boys get the kick on from here. Xavi being involved, I think is bigger for the team than anything. But yeah, great finish by Johnson. We know what Johnson is. We need a goal. I guess he maybe could be that guy. At least I heard of Richarlison or something like that. But yeah, great start, definitely, and came, I think, right around where you want the goal to come in to kind of like ease the nerves a little bit. So yeah, great from those two there.
Steve, Frank, nearly said Angie again, right? Frank, right, gave a bit of a clue away in one of his press conferences. He turned around and said, yeah, with Johnson, all that is because we can use his pace to get him behind the lines. And that's what happened with this goal, really, because he doesn't often take his man. And I thought that was an interesting comment because obviously when a player gets picked regularly, I know he got 18 goals last year, top goal scorer and all that, but fans say, work rate doesn't work. And when we don't win a game and he looks like he hasn't contributed anything, he's obviously got to be doing something in training that we're not seeing that attracts the manager's eye, hasn't he?
I would assume, but I think there's got to be some context here because this came against Copenhagen. And no disrespect to the Danish Super League, but it is what it is. We should have the talent to have our third team out there, and they probably would do the exact same thing. I mean, we could have put our U21s out there, and we probably would have had the same thing. But I will say that over the course of the last couple of appearances for Brennan Johnson, he actually has done some of the things that I've been complaining about, which is actually attacking the box and putting himself in good positions to actually, put himself in a position where he can actually do right by the club. And one of the things that I liked was that, he was actually taking on his man. He was able to get around the corner to actually receive that through ball. By the way, shout out to Xavi Simons because that through ball was an absolute chef's kiss. But one of the things I liked was the fact that, Johnson takes a touch. And it seems kind of funny because he took the wrong touch and put himself at an awkward angle, but he was still able to finish. Yeah. And for me, for Johnson, it was never really about his finishing touch. When we saw him last year, his touch and his form around goal was never the issue. It was the things outside of the finish to put himself in positions to actually be able to do that were always the thing that were in question. But again, this was like the second straight performance where Johnson's gotten on the pitch where he's actually had to challenge himself to be able to get called back into the squad for some of these starts where it's starting the little things, and I think that probably had to have that conversation that he has to have with himself, to figure out exactly where he fits in this team. That's the thing. It's like, for me, it's like there's going to be a certain time where you're going to have to look at yourself and essentially say, like, what am I doing wrong or what am I not doing right that's leading me not to get minutes? And I will say that maybe Brennan Johnson had that epiphany where he was, where he actually heard the criticisms, or he's listening to his manager tell him exactly what he's going to be able to need to do, and he's actually doing it this time, which lets me know that he's actually being coachable, which is actually something that a lot of young players are having a problem with these days. But that being said, it was that first step that he took to get around the corner, which was something that in Brennan Johnson performances back, he usually pulls up short and passes it back. But this time he just decided to take the corner. And when you when you talk about Brendan Johnson, one of the more underrated qualities actually is his speed. He has that ability to take on a defender. So it was absolutely nice to see.
Alan, you wouldn't have seen Werner score from that angle. He used to get past.
Stop it!
How dare you.
Stop it! Stop it!
And he would never score from. It was a great finish, though. I mean,
Don't talk about the German homie that way.
It was a great. It was from out of nothing with Xavi, kind of created it out of nothing. And I didn't really expect it from him. You know, we've been kind of critical of Xavi because he tends to be on the ground almost as often as he is up. You know, because he's got to get stronger because he's going to get tackled very hard. Because everyone now he has shown why people were so concerned and why people have been hitting him as hard as they have and kind of keeping him quiet, because this is what happens when you don't let him be quiet. And you let him kind of just do his thing. I will say, going into the game, I was concerned. My only experience with FC Copenhagen was 2 years ago. They were in the Europa League against a certain Manchester United and knocked them out 4-3 in a really amazing game. They scored 2 goals almost at the last minute and one, which knocked out Manchester United out of the Europa League. That was my only experience with them. So I thought, well, they were a good team at least 2 years ago. You know, and up until this 19-minute goal, they were kind of okay. You know, I didn't really know what else to make. They seemed like they were into the game.
That's a good point, Al. I'll stay with you and I'll work backwards and across.
Wait, sorry, just to jump in though. Actually, this is a comment Steve made, and he said you would expect us to, you know, thrash Copenhagen or something like that. But I wasn't so sure, especially expecting
there was so much space on that pitch during that game.
No, I was
so much
expecting we would
space.
thrash Bodo Glimt. You know, I was expecting, you know, but we barely
That's
managed.
a little different.
I'll come to you, Zeus, anyway. I mean, the teams in this Champions League, they've won their championship. They've won their own leagues, right? Usually, especially from that league. They don't get as many teams in the competition as we do. We always get 4 or 5, same as the top clubs do, you know, and the other teams get 1 or whatever it is, whatever they get. I'm not sure, actually. I don't care, to be honest with you. But I mean, like, yeah. But saying that, I mean, you was almost alluding to a good point there, Zeus. I mean, these teams, it's amazing when we beat a team, you know, Jason Cundy and all that. Oh, it's a sub-rate team, blah, 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 and all that. But the one thing about these teams, even when we meet teams in the FA Cup from lower leagues, one thing they know how to do, they're well organised and they know how to defend, don't they, Zeus? And no one spanks them 5-0, you know.
Yeah, no, 100%. Like, there's always that danger. It's still a championship side, and you always have that odd one team that has like a deep run into the competition. Bodo, we struggled to get a draw there. I think maybe Paulino. It was Paulino who scored late. I can't remember, but also I thought we would do better against Monaco. Like, you know, this could have gone either way, right? Like, they don't have the greatest reputation. But,
Frankfurt
was very pleased with that.
You know, fine margins.
Then we had just come off of a bad Chelsea loss. Even though it was only 1-0, we had just come off of that Chelsea loss, which was
but that being said, though, I mean, let's just keep it real, right? The Danish Superliga is not even remotely on par with the second division in England when it comes to talent, right? It's the Danish Super League is a type of league that has a couple good teams at the top of the table, but they're also fourth. They're also fourth in their own table right now, right? So you would expect our talent would be able to pull off something like that.
You would hope.
Do you think? I'll come to you, Alan, next for the next goal. Zeus, do you think? You didn't watch that, Steve? Stay with you. Do you think they were a bit naive? Because when we went down to 10 men, they probably we've got a chance here, and they left gaps, didn't they? I mean, if we'd have finished that game 2-0, was it really a 4-0 thrashing? I'm glad it was, because I like to see goals at the stadium, but
sure,
they weren't awful. I just thought after sending off, they were like incredibly naive.
Here's the interesting thing. they weren't getting forward the way that I think maybe Alan thought they might be able to get forward. I'm not saying that, they couldn't. It just seemed like, yeah, I guess naive is the right word. I just didn't think that they, they had the guts to get forward as convincingly as, maybe some other people thought they were. Me personally, I just thought they were kind of punchless in the attack. Me personally, that's just the way that's just kind of how I felt. I didn't think they gave themselves a good showing. I'll just say that.
Right. Let's move on to the second goal. Alan, 51
Yes.
minutes, 2-0. Katarski's clearance. Marnie chased him down. The ball's ballooned up in the air, loops in the air. Marnie, I think this was the best thing. He did some good things in the game.
He
he
did.
had 3 good chances to score. But the way he took this ball out of the air, look, I don't think even Solanke's doing it. Richarlison's never doing it in a million years, right? Unless he's got a big net. He's not doing it. And then call control, laughed, Odegaard, and I was pleased he got the goal. And we're all proud at the stadium that we all want Moani and Simmons to score, don't we? We want their first goal,
Yeah.
So what was your take? What was your take on this?
It was the first moment where I said to myself, "This is the Moani that we were hoping for when we first loaned him." And brought him over to Tottenham. How selfless was that he was willing to? Because he could have taken a shot. Honestly, he could have tried and gone for it if he was being selfish, but he didn't, and he put it right off to Odegaard. And Odegaard, it would have been difficult for him probably not to score because of where his position was on the goal. He really all he had to do was kick it hard. And it was going to go in. I was very pleased for him, though, because I think these goals, they do such wonders for their confidence. Look what it did for Tell. All of a sudden he kind of grew into the game when he was playing. I don't know what happened to Tell since then, but because we haven't really seen Tell at all.
Well, he's not in the Champions League squad, is he? He was left out of the Champions League squad.
Yeah, right.
Just a reminder. It's easy to forget these things. Just a reminder, you know what I mean? So.
But with Odegaard, because we're very lean on that side, and what we have, we hope, is firing on all cylinders. And in that game, Odegaard, who's amazing, he has amazing technical skill. If he gets the service, I think he will surprise us. Really, I think so.
Yeah, they're getting time now, some of these younger players in this team. We'll see if they get pushed to the side if we get players in January.
Yeah.
Zeus, I'm in the East End. I'm up on the heights, but beautiful, beautiful seat I've got. Anywhere you sit in that stadium, you can go on camera and look at from every seat. Everyone's got a good seat wherever it is, right? Not the old days of obstructive views with posts and things like that. But from my angle, I couldn't actually see where the ball was going. It's a bit like a visual Doppler effect. You think, where's it? But Moani, his vision to move to even gather the ball was good, because I'm sure some people thought he was going to head it or where's it going to go. And in South Stand, they probably couldn't see sometimes you just don't see where the angle goes, and the ball comes down where you least expect it. And but he was ready and waiting, Zeus.
Yeah, no, I know he missed the 2 chances earlier, but I'm just happy. I'm happy. The chances are being created at least from that game at a pretty high rate, right? Maybe like him and Simmons are starting to form some kind of partnership, starting to understand each other. But the goal itself, this is kind of like all him, right? He creates it when he chases down the goalkeeper, composure to control it in that way. And I don't know if maybe Odegaard gives him a shout or something, but I would have minded if you're taking a shot, because it was literally all him in that action. But the control, just cool, composed kind of stuff you love to see, Berbatov-esque. And I'm just this is at the beginning of his stay or tenure with Tottenham, new to the league in England, and you're just going to get more comfortable. So it's like, if it's what he's doing initially, then we can only expect really great things.
Yeah, he's getting up to speed at Steve, isn't he? He's getting up to speed, and he looks quality.
You know what was impressive? 2 things on that goal were impressive. It was Kolo Muani actually staying with the play and putting pressure on Kastarski. to be perfect in that situation, right? And I think I think you saw, I guess, what I would call the inexperience of a goalkeeper in that situation to be able to stick with the play, add pressure, pop the ball in the air, and then having the patience to let that come down and understand that you had defenders that were starting to close in. And you're absolutely right, Zeus. He could have taken a shot there. But that being said, Kastarski actually had the angle, and he actually had the patience and the wherewithal to pick out a teammate that was coming into the box and laid off what I consider an absolutely just perfect ball right to his teammate for the finish. And it's that type of thing. It's that type of thing. And, you know, Dale O'Connor here in the chat also mentioned that, there's a good conversation to have whether or not he, put the team first ahead of getting his first goal. But that being said, I would probably assume with a player like that, assist is just as good as a goal in that area. And the 3 points actually mattered more than potentially scoring his first goal. But those were two very impressive plays, especially the press, because I don't think Richarlison even continues on the play. I think he gives up, and you wonder whether or not Slinky can actually, have the speed to actually press and actually, put the goalkeeper under duress. So it just shows you like the small attributes of Randall Kolo Muani, and how it seems like now all of a sudden things are just starting to come around for him.
Alan, he had 3 good chances during this game. He put the ball wide with the whole goal gape, and he went to go to the inside the post. He had the header as well, and the other chance that just escapes me at the moment. But I mean, he's going to score goals. I mean, he's just because he was there in the right place, and he was being picked out by Simmons, who had probably his best game in the Spurs shirt as well.
He's definitely, that combination of Xavi and Muani is really good. And I think we can exploit that this season, if they can keep their form up. It was great to see. I know Copenhagen did not rise to the occasion in that game. It could have been a 10-0 shutout. I mean, it really could have. If we had put away all of our chances, it was an embarrassment of riches almost, the way we were getting chances. Because up until then, we've been fairly toothless up front. So, I mean,
they hardly got out of their half in the first half. They had to come out a bit in the second after the second goal, which was their undoing. It made it worse for them, actually.
Johnson, Johnson was. It was when I was nervous about Johnson initially coming in. I didn't think that the lineup was as strong, but we're sort of down to the quick. So we're not. We don't really have a lot of choices. That bench, there were players on that bench I've never heard of. And it's always scary if they start bringing in kids that you really never heard of.
We only had 10 on the bench, and in European games you're allowed 12, unlike 9 in the Premier League. So we were too short because we've got a few out, but they're coming back, and we'll have extra bodies back after the international break, which is after tomorrow's game. So Steve, now I'm at the game. I didn't see any of this. I didn't see it. Because it weren't like when you see someone come flying in there late and they're over the top of the stud shade, you think, oh shit, that's a definite red. Or if it's an opponent, you think, yeah, boo him and get him sent off like. But this was one of those, if you see it in slow motion, it looked bad. But in real time, because I didn't see it, when I watched it on a playback, I sent you all guys, I always send you, all the guests always get the highlights and information I send out to others, the other admins as well, and in the groups, the various groups we got going. But what did you make of this? Did you think it was a sending off or?
No, I didn't. But that being said, it was kind of a careless challenge. It looked like Brennan Johnson was late, but that being said, the studs were out, right? So you can understand why they went to a VAR check, but you're absolutely right. In real time, it just looked like a late tackle, right? The yellow was given, okay, fine, cool, and play resumes. But that being said, like when you slow it down and you kind of see the fact that it was a little late, and then, essentially his studs go right into the calf, right? So you're kind of like, I guess the first word that comes to my mind is careless. I'm wondering what Brendan Johnson actually thought in the moment that would be a good thing to do. I don't know, man. I looked at it and like in real time, I thought the call on the field was correct. I thought maybe a red might have been a little too harsh, but that being said, it's still a boneheaded play to begin with.
Zeus, your take on it? I mean, I've seen so many tackles from behind this season that have gone unpunished. I've seen loads of them. Are you muted? I think you're muted, mate.
Yeah, my bad. So it's a very, very harsh interpretation of the law. Like, no one was clamoring for a challenge on the field when it went down. Like, it's clumsy, yeah, careless, but it's not. He's not. I don't think there's going to be any serious injury. Definitely, that wasn't the intent. It's just super harsh. It reminds me of Sissoko Champions League final against Liverpool. Like the handball, like harsh, very, very harsh.
It was late though.
Yeah,
but it was like the tackle was late though.
I mean,
Yeah.
I said it was clumsy, but it's like,
Yeah.
like.
Let me just throw this in as well to add to the conversation. I mean, I might understand the rules, which I struggle with a lot of these rules nowadays. It's supposed to be malicious and dangerous.
Yeah.
It wasn't malicious.
No,
No.
not at all.
He's not that sort of player anyway.
Not at all. It wasn't. It was super, super harsh. And then, like you start getting into things of like shirts being pulled in the box and all that. Like, are you going to call foul?
Right.
Yeah, it's not. I think if it stayed a yellow, I don't think anybody would complain.
Yeah, to me, my take on this is like, look, it's consistency. If you're going to send someone off for this, fine, as long as you're consistent across the board when it happens all the time. Now, we know referees in Europe do tend to referee games slightly different to they do in the UK. You know what I mean? As bad as they are in the UK, I must admit. I'm not impressed with the referee, and I don't think the standard's gone up. And I think they rely on VAR too much now to do their jobs for them. Yeah. All right. Yeah. So if the game had gone the wrong way after this, you can imagine the hoot in all the media platforms if we'd like drawn the game or if Dreadit lost it.
Oh, well, can I just weigh in real quick?
Yeah, go on. Of course you can. That's why you're here, Al.
So yeah, with the red card, I was the day before I watched the Bayern PSG game, and I watched Luis Diaz make a very acrobatic scissor style takedown on Ashraf Hakimi, and so that was a straight red, and you could see it. There was just no two ways about it. Luis Diaz was getting a red card, and it was a very bad tackle. And Hakimi, everyone was sad. Hakimi kind of went off crying, but that's kind of what I said. Okay, that's a red. But then I see what Brendan Johnson did, and I thought it was just very soft.
Yeah, for sure.
I thought it was soft, but I guess the really I thought it was more like an orange than it was red, and it was just sort of referee's decision to go one way or the other, because really it was, he knows Brendan Johnson is, if anything, demure. He's not aggressive. He's not that kind of player. Yet, as you said, it was clumsy, but there was no malice involved in that. But if the referee thought that was the way it was, then that's how it was going to be. I just thought that was the beginning of the end for us. I was like, oh great, we're going to lose now because we're down to 10 men.
Yeah, well, for a bit of fun and to be a bit tongue-in-cheek after that tackle, I went on YouTube to get some Sunday League tackles in people, and I sent them out to all you guys. I don't know if you bother to watch them. Like, there's like 2-footed chest-high tackles, 2-footed coming in at 90 miles an hour at players and things like that. These people have got jobs to go to working the next day. They're lucky not if their legs broken, but you go and watch some of them tackles, it's unreal, And then the fights really break out. We have enough of that. I don't know what the parents are like in America and Canada on the sideline, but in England it's pretty bad. I mean, we struggle to get refs for these amateur games because like the parents threaten to beat them up or whatever. You know what I mean? So fighting on the
Well,
touchline.
you do remember what's his name, the old Wimbledon player, Vinny Jones.
Jones, yeah.
Yeah, Vinny Jones. Yeah, like
the gangster Vinny
it's
Jones, yeah.
yeah, like it's
Great actor.
Brendan Johnson is not is not going full Vinny Jones right there in that moment. But that being said, it's like late tackles, spikes are high. That's automatically gonna
Squeezing
bring up the
Gaz's
air.
testicle. That picture.
Oh yeah, that was awesome.
Yeah.
I forgot about that. Yeah.
Nasty stuff. All
Right. To you, Zeus, you can have this one, right? 64-minute 3-0. Paulina assists for this. VDV break from our penalty area. Runs the length of the pitch. And the shot. He used to be a striker, apparently. Always played as striker.
Yeah.
But I think the ball was virtually under Katalski before. That was... I mean, the run, you thought, yeah, if he misses, who cares? They're going to cheer him anyway for what he did. But, I mean, like, the finish.
Finish was Harry Kane-esque.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, I think Steve said earlier that Copenhagen was naive. I don't know, man. You can't defend that. You're not expecting that, right? You're not expecting the center back to pick the ball up and sprint up the entire field. Like, I mean, very similar to Son's goal against West Ham, and I mean, he does have it in his locker. It's kind of crazy that he can just say, you know what, F it, I'm going to carry this ball up and no one's going to catch me. So incredible stuff, man. Like pure athleticism, Gareth Bale-esque, like just crazy that we have a player that can do that. I guess consistently. Maybe he should be going up a bit more often.
Well, he did it against Everton, but he laid the ball off for Son.
Yeah, laid the ball off and got the goal. But it's just Copenhagen are not, I think they, at least in that instance, both the goals they conceded were like basically counterattacks. So with a man up, I still don't think they were naive. It's just, the guy is a speeding bullet, freight train. Like it's just great.
You
great
hit the nail on the
individual-
head. The freight train bit, because I've played at fullback, and when you know you're playing against an imposing, fast guy that's built like a brick shithouse, right, running with the ball, you make the tackle, but like you're going to bounce off him anyway. I mean, I made tackles and ended up rolling in the fucking grass, like, you know what I mean? Because, and I think that his pace, like you say, like a freight train, I think intimidating them on the tackle. I think he's a lump, he's a unit, you know what I mean? So
yeah, fastest in the Prem too.
Yeah. So, Alan, what did you make of it?
Well, he had also done something similar to Manchester United, except he passed over to Johnson and Johnson put the ball away. But so he's done this before, and I knew he had it in him. And then he must have just been watching the Puskas Award that Sonny won, and for that goal, running right through everybody, and doing a very similar job, and it was just breathtaking. Again, it's amazing that our number one scorer is a center back.
It's got to be up for the Puskas Award, Steve, isn't it? And the fact that Sonny's a striker and VDV's a defender, is VDV's goal better because he's just a defender? I don't care, to be honest with you. It's just a bit of fun.
By the way, you know exactly where I'm going with this as well too, because I got this love affair with Dutch center backs, right? And so especially when VDV has essentially been my favorite player next to Kulusevski, understanding that he has this in his locker, and the thing that makes it so impressive is the fact that he picks and chooses when he actually wants to slice defenses apart. And again, if you want to use the word naive, whatever you want to use, there was space everywhere on that pitch against Copenhagen. And it didn't surprise me whatsoever that VDV ended up being on the score sheet, because it just seems like he's going to pick and choose when he's going to get forward and he's going to be dangerous. And if you notice on that shot, there was really nobody within 2 or 3 feet of him. It was just a perfect position and a perfect goal. It was gorgeous.
Great finish. It was a great finish. Zeus. Romero obviously got jealous, right, of this, because like in 67 minutes assist. You've got Romero gets in behind the Copenhagen. He's playing on the inside left position. He gets in behind the Copenhagen defence. I think them last 2 goals were like, akin to handball, really. I mean, he picks out Polina, and he doesn't mess about when he gets the ball, Polina. He does hit it, doesn't he? He does give it a blast. What was your take on that goal?
I mean, similar to, well, not similar, but the right thing to do. I can't remember if they won it off. I just remember it was a counterattack. The offside, I could have sworn it would be ruled off as offside. So I didn't really celebrate or anything like that.
Yeah.
But good smart play. I think it was like maybe a 3-on-1 or 3-on-2 or something, and they just kind of made the right passes up front for Paulinho to kind of more or less tap home. But yeah, I mean, great counterattacking play. Should we be doing this more often? Maybe, but it was just putting a bow on the entire game, like professional performance somewhat. I mean, I think it's got a bit, Simmons being subbed off. I don't know if I would have made that particular sub, but that was maybe my only negative from the game is just maybe Simmons is going and, maybe losing a bit of steam, but just, yeah, putting a bow on it and just the right plays being made by the team as a unit. So good stuff.
Steve, there's a time for centre backs to get forward and time to stay at home because, we've seen it when Romero's got a few goals each year, and he does. Romero, it's good to see him back because he was starting moving the ball in the back. I think he makes a big difference when he's in the team. That's my opinion anyway. But yeah, I mean, if we're winning 1-0, I don't think Romero or VDV go forward at all. I think we keep
correct.
Yeah. But
you're absolutely right.
And they're leaving space. Yeah. I mean,
for sure.
It's the same as Sonny. He said, when I see the space, I kept going. They're either going to foul me and give me a free kick or whatever. So, yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think it was just because, they're, at this stage, they're up 3-0, that the game is in control. They understand exactly that, Copenhagen at this stage, probably isn't going to do anything to put themselves out. But that being said, this was all game, right? So when you see a guy like Romero getting behind, here's the interesting thing, though. For as much as we want to talk about our attacking issues, by the way, Polina, I think leads the team in GA with 6 goals, 4 assists, right? So it's kind of interesting.
VDV's got 6 goals.
Yeah, something like that. I know. Polina's got 10 goal contributions so far in the year, right? So it just kind of shows you that even guys like Polina, Romero, and Van de Ven are carving out little areas where they can actually be effective around goal. It's actually brilliant to see. And by the way, that was also a good finish as well too.
I mean, Alan, one of the interviewers afterwards interviewed VDV, and he goes have you set your sights on 15 to 20 goals this season?
Yeah.
Did you see that? I think I'll send it to you guys anyway. Yeah.
I love that. I love that this is happening. And again, we knew that we needed goals coming from everywhere once Harry Kane left. We knew that Harry Kane. I was listening to a statistic about Manchester City that Haaland has, of course, the most goals, but the next behind him, I think maybe is Foden with 2, and then own goals is 2 or something like that. Basically, it was just the Haaland show, and it was a lot for us. It was the Kane show. Harry Kane put in a ton of goals, and is still for Bayern Munich is still putting in a ton of goals. So we knew they were going to have to come from all over the place. Romero and VDV, when they're together, we tend to win. I think, many of our games when we lose, it's either or, not both of them there. We don't tend to lose when Christian Romero and Mickey Van de Ven play together. These are the reasons why, we see it. Mickey Van de Ven can come out of nowhere and score. Romero can take something from nothing and make magic. And, this is why he's our captain.
Zeus, Frank's game management. Now, at the stadium, we were there, and it was only about 40,000 there. We've got to lower these prices for these midweek games. It's hard to get to the games midweek for people that got work next day and they're travelling. But we were all disappointed to see Simmons go off. He was definitely, he was my man of the match without a shadow of a doubt. I thought it was the best game he had in a Spurs shirt. But yeah. So, and I was Coach Dave is in our WhatsApp group. I was chatting to him. I said, like, this was tactical after sending off. So I think even Frank was surprised we went on and scored 2 more goals. I think it was quite Frank. I think would be quite conservative now to take the 2-goal lead and just manage the game. I think Simmons was taken off for purely tactical reasons.
Yep.
Yeah. I mean, most likely, but for me, it was like these guys cooking, right? He's got his first, might be his first assist, but at least he's involved. He has a very positive impact on the game, and I believe he was ready to do more. But at the first chance he gets, Frank goes to his loved combo of Paulinho and Bentancur. So for me, it's like, he seems to be in love with these guys, which I don't want, I guess. Yes, there's certain games, yes, but he needs to get away from that. That's what I'm saying, especially after the Chelsea game and the lackluster performance. He needs to get away from that against big games and teams that are going to come at us, yes, but as much as often, don't play those guys, if that makes sense, right? So I'm a bit worried with just stopping the love affair, right? It's a lot, man. Like every time, nailed on, bang bang. So I thought we'd gotten away from it, but then it's like first chance, got to pair those guys back together again. So let's see. When we talk about the United game, I guess hopefully don't see that, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I thought it was tactical. I didn't want him to go off.
Yeah.
Xavi did not want to come off.
No,
but you can understand why he was taken off, because he's going to be in the 11 versus United, and the last thing you want to do is run him ragged when the game is already won. So from that standpoint, it's understandable. But by the way, Xavi, I don't think Xavi was even in the starting 11 for this one, because Bergvall got sent off within the first 5 minutes, which is why Xavi even came into the match. I would probably assume that he might have only been slated for maybe 30 minutes for this one, and ended up having to come off because of Bergvall's concussion, right? So what I will say is that for the most part, I didn't have any problem. With the way that Xavi was handled as far as being subbed on and being subbed off. What I will say is I think maybe Thomas Frank got it right and just allowed him to have the freedom underneath, because he was attacking from the right and the left-hand side, and he was picking and choosing where he was going to have the most impact. And of course, off the left-hand side, he had that give and go that sprang Kolo Muani for the first goal for the first goal opportunity, the one that he missed. But then, as he was attacking off the right-hand side, he had that shot that was near goal, and then of course he has the assist that sprang Brendan Johnson. I think what we saw in this one was that instead of trying to keep Xavi specifically in his lane when it comes to just tactically doing exactly what Frank has been asking him to do, which is kind of trip left, kind of drop deep a little bit to make touches and kind of stay in that area, he was given the freedom and the license just to roam. And that's something that, at least that I've seen for the first time in a Spurs shirt, that Xavi actually had that license to pretty much do whatever he wanted underneath, and just let him pick and choose where he was going to be most dangerous. And so from that standpoint, I absolutely like that. And I'm hoping that's going to continue as well, too, because a guy like Xavi needs that freedom and that license to roam.
This is Blaine. Blaine, yeah, I'll message you. You can meet us where us guys meet regularly in the South Stand fan zone. Okay. I'm just going to go through the chat, guys. Then give the channel a plug, and we'll carry on. We'll start with we'll talk about Man United. This is Blaine again. Regards, well, sorry, it's going down to 10 minutes. Yeah, it is. We have to sort of temper it with the fact that it is Copenhagen. But look,
right.
I will celebrate. I followed this team over 6 decades. I mean, I'm going to celebrate every win, because I know what this team do to me, right? So when we get a win, I'm celebrating it, right? I'm not going to overhype it. We haven't overhyped it. I mean, like, if it had been 2-0 and they'd been naive, it would have shown how hard they were to beat. And people are saying, well, we struggled to beat them 2-0. So, yeah, I mean, well, Spurs team, I get that. No arguments. I mean, like, especially we've won the game and we don't really care now. Yeah, I mean, it's how you interpret it. It's how fans interpret everything, actually. I thought it was harsh when I see it, not at the ground. I thought, what happened there? I didn't know if it was bad or not. Right.
Kudus. I'm sad that we're probably not going to see him tomorrow, but I hope he gets the rest he needs.
Oh, Kudus is out.
Frank
He's
said
going to
that
be looked at tomorrow.
He's touch and go.
And I think, I mean, I posted in Steve's show with David Harris earlier on that I think he's going to play a part in that game tomorrow if he doesn't start. I think he will, because he's got the international break. So if it's not serious,
I just hope that we get the Kudus that we saw when he was first playing for us. He tends to slow the game down a little bit, and then holds the ball a little too long. And that was with Brennan Johnson. It was kind of easy to just have him slot in behind enemy lines, so to speak, and then put it right in. Maybe we need a little more of that also from Kudus, because I want Kudus to score a lot. I want him to score a lot.
Yeah, I mean, I think Xavi getting used to Premier League pace, which has been the thing. I think it's a question of physicality, because he's got the skill when he's on the ball, right, to release the ball before he gets his contact. It's not like he's playing with his back to goal. He seems to. He looks devastating when he actually, even the 10, when he's on the left and he starts cutting in across the penalty area, defenses crap themselves, right? They crap themselves. And he's got that chip lob ball that he's done. I've seen him do it a few times. I pick up on these things to the far post, which most of our players wouldn't bother, because if you lose the ball, you lost the ball, But he's willing to try things, and that's what you want. I mean, Potts used to say, be brave in the final third. What have you got to lose? Nothing, right? And so I think he's been trying too hard, Hessetel and Kudus, and it's just meant they've hung on to the ball too long. Because when you can put a pass out of Brennan Johnson like that, right, and set up a few other chances, then release the ball a bit earlier. Once you get more used to the pace of the game, then you can hold on to it a bit longer if you think it is. He's not a dribbler, but he's got that glide past. He's got that, that turn and go that Bergval's got to glide and go forward. Yeah. Past players, which is, and that they can do is foul. When you do that, all they can do is foul you or let you go. I mean, so I think he's a fantastic talent, and we have nowhere near seen the best of him. But when there's games, when he drops out of games, okay, 60 minutes, you take him off. We've got plenty of squad mates to bring in instead of him. If it's not his day, I mean, I remember seeing Eriksen having poor games for Spurs,
Many times.
And he was fantastic. His career-wise was fantastic for us. I mean, you can't expect players to be like on top form for every game they play. You just hope that, at least 2/3 of them, please. That's what you want. And I'm confident he's going to give us that anyway.
This is a good question from Beast of Tottenham Hotspur. Justice for Scarlett.
Yeah. I mean, look, he won it. What he did in that little cameo. I mean, I watched Scarlett play when he was 17 years of age. He's only 21 now, believe it or not. Always scores away from England, right? Because they couldn't get him alone. They might have to get him alone in January if we bring a striker in. Because that's going to diminish his chances even further. And that's the thing with the pathway for the academy players. I'd like to see Lancashire brought back and Richarlison gone in January, personally. But
me too.
I wouldn't want Lancashire back or Mikey Moore back, who did well against Celtic and Rangers. I posted video clips of his. If that means then you're going to sit on the Spurs bench for the rest of the season, no, leave him out on loan.
Yeah.
Right.
I mean, Rangers are crap.
It's the same. Yeah. It's the same with us being linked with centre backs. Not Rob. Hang on a minute, right? If we were linked with a left-footed centre back,
Homer
I'm
Springs.
for that. I'll go and check him out and post the videos. And I'm not going to talk about transfers till January because we've got all this
Right.
bullshit in the media at the
But-
moment.
You're absolutely right, though, Adrian. Right? Because here's the thing: as much as I like Mikey Moore, and as much as I think that he can do a job, if you're going to bring him back just to not play him, you're 100% right. They need to stay out on their loan. But that being said, it's like, you were talking about who's the kid that's coming in January from Ireland, the striker.
Mason Melia.
Milan or
Mason Melia.
Mason Melia, right? They're saying that dude is legit and potentially ready to go and ready to step up. We'll see about that. But here's the thing, man. One of my biggest issues is the fact that there is no pathway to the first team from the academy, and I wonder if that's by design because Dane Scarlett, whether you agree with this or not, Dane Scarlett is a talented footballer, but yet he can't seem to get minutes. And I think Thomas Frank addressed that as well too, where it's like, is he going to be the type of guy to get 3 or 4 games? Probably not. Well, why is that?
He scored against Elfsborg when Ajayi scored and Michael Moore scored, when those 3 scored. And in Harry Kane's last game for Spurs, when he scored 4, Scarlett got the 5th goal. That was a lovely swivel and turn to bury the ball. He is a natural finisher. I've watched this kid when he was 17. When you see 22 players and one just stands out amongst them all, it's him. Will he have a career at Spurs? I don't think so. But he's going to be a millionaire and he's going to get a career elsewhere.
But my issue is that we know for a fact we know that Richarlison's got his issues. And the fact that ever since, like outside of the Burnley game to start the season, Richarlison has been essentially a dumpster fire at that position. And the fact that we have no idea when Solanke's coming back, there is an opportunity for Dane Scarlett to get minutes. And I'm not just talking at the end of a match that had been won since the end of the first half, right? So to me, it's like it was nice to see him get minutes. But that being said, it's like, if he really is that good of a player, then we probably should see Scarlett actually have a little bit more of an expanded role. Because as of right now, I'd rather see Dane Scarlett get some minutes over a dude like Richarlison. And it's very rare that I say that because I usually take the experience over the academy players. But I'm at that point where it's like this is the actual situation, the actual year for Dane Scarlett to prove whether or not he can hang on with this squad.
This is why I think they've changed the rules on loaning players out, that if they don't get the game time at the clubs, now it's in the loan rule, we're pulling you back in January. Because he was at Ipswich before Ipswich got promoted under McKenna and he didn't get the game. And this is the thing. Not if you're loaned out, I'm loaning you out and I want to incentivize you as well. I mean, like I don't know what they do. Callum might know a lot more. Callum Stubbs might know a bit more about this than I do. And I follow a lot of the under 21 stuff, You somehow you've got to incentivize these teams to play your players because they were desperate for him in the first place. So then you say, well, okay, if you play him, each game you play him, we'll pay his wages or whatever. Because I don't know what the fee arrangements are or whatever. It must be to cover the wages. If you're that desperate, we'll pay his wages, or we'll pay half his wages if he plays half a game or something like that. I mean, I don't know. I mean, like, obviously there's greater minds at the club than mine. And we've got, there's enough staff there now, so
it's just kind of sad because he's stuck. I feel bad for Scarlett because he needs the play time. Thomas Frank, Alistair Gold kind of backed Thomas Frank into a corner with regard to talking about Scarlett because he said, what does Scarlett have to do to get more time? He's like, well, he needs, if he needs more fitness, what does he need? And he's like, well, he needs more game time. And it's like,
then give it to him.
So
then give it to him.
You're really looking at like substitution time in the Premier League if we've got games wrapped up, or unless we pull, we get a non-league team in the FA Cup in the first week of January or something like that, and we're busy with other fixtures because we've got 2 ECL games to play in January. Then you got the FA Cup. Let's hoping we're buzzing, and let's hoping that and then you got to give Tell time as well. Because he's not in the Champions League squad.
Yeah.
Right.
Right.
But
I think they're good prospects, Odobert and Tell. I really do. They've really got. I like the attitude of both players. They've got the right attitude, and they smash it for the French under 21s. But as fans, we want oven ready cook players in the squad. But if we bring in oven ready cook players, we close the pathway off.
Ready.
And the big difference is to you guys is that don't know. See, it's different in Europe because they haven't got Premier League money. Even the teams in the bottom third of our division, the Premier League, no disrespect to them, if they need to fix a problem, they're threatening relegation. Come January, they can go out and buy players. Well, Europe's skin. So they play their youngsters. When they say, oh, here comes like, all right, Lamal's an exception, right? All right, it's different, right? But here comes they play their young players. Here comes Bergvall got noticed in his leagues for Gunguardens or whatever it is, right? He gets noticed there.
Yeah, Djurgården.
Playing.
Yeah, Djurgården.
He wouldn't. I mean, that wouldn't have happened to one of our players in the Premier League. It wouldn't have happened in the academy teams. They wouldn't have been playing it like for the first team. But because they haven't got the money, they have to play them younger. And then, like, because they play and they develop, suddenly all our clubs want to go and nick all these players from Europe, the young kids, because they've developed further than us. You don't look. I've watched all the under-21 games. We won both competitions and all that, but these players have to go on loan because the standard's just not high enough. And Mikey Moore, he's struggling a bit under the manager at Rangers now. He's finding his feet. He's being played. He's happier in a better position, you know. Vuskovic now, though, when we're linked with defenders, I get annoyed because, like, he's smashing it in Germany, right? Lost the first game 5-0 to Bayern when they came and visited him, understandably. And now he's got the best heading stats and all that. And then, like, you get the media link us with centre-backs and not even left-footed. I'm not saying Vuskovic is left-footed. He's not, but he's played on the left side. And I'm thinking, like, well, the Bundesliga is higher than the Championship. The next step up for Vuskovic is with us. It's with us.
Yeah,
so
right.
he should have more chance. He should have more chance. It's a little bit of a rant of mine, actually. But,
But you know, you just highlighted my point though, and the interesting thing about it is if there was ever a season for a guy like Dane Scarlett to actually play his way, it would be this season right now, considering that the striker position it has fluctuated to the point where outside of Kola Mwani, you're kind of like, okay, well, who's gonna be a guy that you can actually go in there and find out. Well, you're never going to find out about Scarlett until you actually find out about Scarlett, right? And you mentioned the fact that he might get the odd start potentially in an FA Cup match in January. That's a little too far out, right? But that being said, surely there are opponents in the Premier League where you can strategically use him to make sure he gets his minutes and his opportunity. Until you're 100% sure on the on Solanke and his ankle. And if you're 100% sure that you can't rely on Richarlison because he's untrustworthy, you have a guy like that. You have a guy like Dane Scarlett who's already proved that he can score goals at this level. He just needs time.
Right, moving on quickly. Spurs 10th in the ECL table with a +5 goal difference. 4 games left to play. PSG away, easy 3 points. Right, Slavia Prague at home, Borussia Dortmund at home, and Eintracht Frankfurt away. I think we'll make the playoffs if we strike some really good form to finish in that top 8. I mean, it's not like the Europa League. There's some quality in there. Like, I mean, apart from Bayern Munich, Real Madrid, PSG, Barcelona, then you got Arsenal, Man City, Liverpool, and Chelsea. You could say all those 8 teams have got better squads than us. Doesn't mean to say they can't come a cropper.
But PSG, they suffer. Hakimi is out. Dembele is out. They're down people, and they probably will have to rotate. So I think a slightly diminished PSG can be gotten at.
I
And
don't see
Slavia
why
Prague, I don't know how great they've been. Borussia Dortmund, I watched; they were terrible the other day.
Right.
Eintracht Frankfurt, we've beaten before.
Yeah,
Right.
there's no reason why we can't get 7 points, at least 7 points out of these 4 matches.
Oh, we're going to make the playoffs. I mean, I've got no qualms about that. But if you finish
maybe we can get maybe we can get a draw against PSG. But that being said, it's like you're looking at this thinking to yourself, okay, well, there's at least 7 points in those next 4.
And that would get us to playoffs. Whether it got us in the top 8 and we finished 8th, I don't know. We don't know. We say the formats, when we go into that. Because we got we come back after the international break after Man United, then we got Arsenal away and PSG. So, that is not easy. I think we got more. We never rarely get a win at Arsenal, and like PSG are tough.
I mean, the good thing is like, we're going through a change, huge I guess
Transition, yeah.
transition, that's the right word. Yeah. New manager, a lot of new players, and if Copenhagen is anything to kind of like look to what the future holds, we would be going from strength to strength, right? Like most of the other clubs, less major changes. I think we've probably had the most highest or largest change in style, or that doesn't make sense, but you know what I mean. New manager, a bunch of new players. I don't think anyone else at the top of the, maybe not in the Premier League certainly, but yeah, it feels positive, right? Like things are starting to click.
Right, quick plug for the channel. We're in, and we usually do it on the hour mark. For those of you who have not been here before, we've got 50 odd of you in viewing us on various platforms. We're very grateful and we appreciate your support. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, you can see a little red button in the bottom right hand corner. We can't see it. Please hit the subscribe button. Give the videos a thumbs up because it helps the algorithm. If you want to become a member, you can. It's only $1.99 a month. Super chats and super stickers, you can do them as well if you want to get your question over, right? We have got other platforms we use. We've got a Spurs Diehards Facebook platform, which has got 14,600 members, which I started when the stadium opened in 2019. We got 3,200 on XCOM. We've got a WhatsApp group with about 70 in it, and we've got a Discord group with about 20 in it or 23 in it or something, because that's just new. Yeah, so if you like us, get over there, spread the word, and big up to those in the chat. Big up to those in the chat for your questions and that. And a very big up to those of you that watch us on playback. And with that, we move on to Man United. Man United at home, right? Last 7 games, we've won 5, drawn 2. So obviously we lost the 8th game, but they didn't state that in the in the media report I read, right? So Zeus, what's happening? You doggy over Spence?
100%. Yeah, it's not debatable. Udogie just gives way more, gives more like offensively, and I think we would need that in this game. So yeah, I think it's like a no-brainer, Udogie.
Steve?
Oh, 100%. And, the interesting thing is like, the differential in the attack between Spence and Udogie is night and day. When you look at the way that he gets forward, the link up play up the left-hand side, it actually makes this team a little bit more dangerous. It makes us look a little less one-dimensional in the attack. But that being said, it's like, when you see him play, you see the high ceiling. From that standpoint, it's like, even in this last match, I get it. I get it with the opponent, but we just look a little bit differently on that side versus Jed Spence. And I understand the comparisons about, their service into the box. But that being said, I will still take the high ceiling of Destiny Udogie over the potential 1v1 defense of Jed Spence. By the way, Udogie's not a slouch in that department either.
No, I want a left foot in a left foot position. Personally.
Yeah,
and
me too.
He has had to face. He has looked down the barrel of a gun recently, Alan.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Yes, it was an agent.
Yeah.
That's what they said. It was an agent who did not like that he was not going to sign with him, and pulled out a gun on him. Yeah.
But this was
Great.
recent,
Yeah.
wasn't it? Because
Poor kid.
I hadn't looked at the story. I just glimpsed it today. I thought maybe it was a mugger or something, like, in his home country.
It was an agent who I guess did not. Destiny was not interested in whatever they were selling.
It wasn't Flora Manea, was it? Dragison's agent, was it? He reckons Dragison's going to play for Real Madrid and blah blah blah.
Yeah, we all remember.
Do it.
Okay.
Problem.
But I will say, I agree with everybody that Destiny, I think on the left, he links up so well with Odegaard.
He's a champ. I like that. I thought last year, big fan of him. I thought last year he was pants until the last half a dozen games, and then immense in the final as everybody else was. Right. I am a big fan. I think he could go and be one of the best left-sided players on this planet.
I agree.
I still think he's got got that in him. In the final third, again, too much pussyfoot. It needs to be better in the final third. Get some deliveries over there. But I just think I want a left footer on the left-footed position. Seriously, you know?
I could see resting, potentially resting Poro, and play Spence on that side.
Yeah,
remember they have Brian and Mbeumo on the left side.
Fans have been seduced with Spence on the left. That's because they haven't seen enough of him on the right, though. But
that's right.
Fair about it.
Yeah, and they have Brian and Mbeumo coming down that left side. So it would be up to Jed to pocket him. So I think that might be a way to go, because that's Jed Spence has done a lot. I think we're seeing where he needs improvement, which is moving forward. But I think he's doing very well in defense. Right,
let's put this at Zeus then. Are we going to have a Bentancur Paulinho midfield pivot, or Paulinho at a start and one of them on the bench? Zeus, what's happening? And Frank's hard to predict.
I think Paulinho is going to start. Like, I think Copenhagen was to rest him for the big game. But a part of me is like, we look so good in the first half, like, why rock the boat kind of thing. But he's definitely going to start. I hope as a result Bentancur doesn't start. But just based off the substitution and all that kind of stuff, I think it's going to be a double pivot, sadly.
Steve, actually, I mean, like, Zeus has gone Bentancur don't start, but I would have given Simmons man of the match against Copenhagen, but Bentancur run him a close second. This is the thing when players throw their thoughts in into the mix.
I'm starting him. Just considering at least how I see this playing out, right? And when you look at Manchester United and you look at their, the way that they like to attack, one of the things that I think in this game we're going to see is a lot of shots from outside the box. The long shot, which has kind of been an Achilles heel for Vicario, and so from that side, you're going to have those. You're going to have that defensive double pivot in there, at least to try to put out fires. From that left-hand side or from right-hand side, whichever way they're going to attack from that standpoint. And listen, Paulinho played a significant role, but that being said, that dude's a pro. He's been here before, to the point where you can start him in this match against Man United, and he's going to hold his own, for a good 60-70 minutes at that stage. From my standpoint, I look at this and it's like, we better have our best defenders out there, in case. So from that standpoint, both Paulinho and Bentancur are starting, in my opinion.
Alan?
No, I liked what I saw with Bentancur, Sarr, and Xavi against Copenhagen, and I'd like to see maybe Paulinho come on as a sub. I think they were just a little more dynamic. Paulinho is a very good at what he does, and he's good at shooting, but he's not that great at dribbling and moving the ball forward. And I think Sarr was better. He was an unsung hero against Copenhagen. He did a ton of the leg work to make those plays happen. And Bentancur was playing out of his mind that game. We were talking about it the week that not too long before that, about Bentancur kind of not being his best since his injury. But he had that ability and he hasn't been using it, but he was amazing last game. So I'm hoping that we can kind of see this same three. There must be maybe there's some chemistry. Steve talks about that. You got to play together to kind of build that camaraderie. And if it worked well against Copenhagen, in my mind, Copenhagen, they beat Man United 2 years ago. I could see playing the same three in the middle.
Yeah, but you also have to think that, the reason why Bentancur isn't getting forward is because he's not being asked to get forward. In that double pivot, he's asked to be more of a defensive presence and use his ability on the ball to potentially be a passer and not necessarily join the attack, which is the reason why Bergvall, it hasn't been playing in that position because Bergvall will go rogue and start doing things that Thomas Frank doesn't want for that specific position. But also think about this as well too, right? Because everybody praises Van de Ven and Romero for that partnership as a center back pairing. Well, this is another partnership on the pitch where obviously it's bearing fruit because Pelini and Betancourt are on the same page. They have a feel and a liking for each other playing in those positions because one can go put out fires with what they know for a fact that their backside is being protected, right? So it's these type of partnerships that the last thing you want to do is break up.
Well, to me, I mean, as they say, the world's covered in 71% of water and the rest is covered by Pat Matasar. And I would, Sarr gives you those legs in midfield. Coach Dave pointed this out Tuesday that Bentancur and Pelino haven't got, and Sarr will go left, right, here, there, and everywhere, right? And Man United's midfield, I know it's quality in name, right? With Fernandes and Sado, but they're not the quickest, and their back four are not the quickest either, not the centre backs anyway. So they can be got at. I'm not saying they're not a threat. They are. I mean, like because their front three seem to be firing better. But I'd like to see Sarr start this game, which means like I'd agree Bentancur would sit on the bench because I'm playing Simmons as well if it's me, but we'll come to that, right? So, yeah, but you never know. Frank might think, oh, it didn't work against Chelsea, but I'll go Bentancur, Pelina and Sarr and have it all energy. And that could work. I'm not saying it couldn't work. It's like if Simmons after his performance midweek and you've got the international break, you can throw him in, can't you? You can throw him in, Zeus. You can give Simmons his go and go with Paulina. You can always bring Bentancur on if it don't work. Frank always seems to do all the subs on the hour mark and up 70 minutes, all five are on. I'm not against that. I'm not against that with the amount of games that players have to play. So, yeah. This is. I don't know if Frank's playing a bluff game with Kudus. It was only a knock. Well, most players carry knocks after about 10 games. They're carrying a knock for the rest of the season anyway. But late fitness set, Kudus over Johnson, Zeus.
I mean, no. Like if you think about Kudus didn't play a part at all in against Copenhagen, right?
No, he was
injured. He didn't play
at all. Yeah, no, I think he plays. I think he plays like I think Frank will look at it. This guy, you haven't played in a week. Come on, you're good to go. Big game too. Like I don't know, like this is I don't know if we're going to talk about like the scale of the game, but I think this really determines our season or what we're viewed as. If we win, we're just a shade below the Arsenals and whatnot. If we lose, then I think in mid-table, that kind of thing. So I really think Frank is really going to go for it for this game and play Kudus at the risk of even being injured kind of thing. So I expect him to start.
Yeah. Steve? Alan?
Okay.
The suspense.
My question is, what is the significance of the knock that Kudus had? That would be my first question, right? Because Thomas Frank has said that he's touch and go for tomorrow, and I don't think he trained yesterday. And I think the word is that he was going to get evaluated today, and so from that standpoint, I don't know. Like a big part of me thinks that we're going to see Brendan Johnson on the rink tomorrow.
That's what I think. I think, and Brendan Johnson showed us in that Copenhagen games things that we haven't seen from him. He was tracking back. He was going after his man. He was taking on his man. He wasn't sitting back. He wasn't lollygagging and whatever. He was really all over the place, on that side. Which was impressive. And I think he deserves, just like everybody else, that confidence boost. If he did a good job in the Champions League, maybe he starts. Man United, we beat them 4 times last season. We beat them red and raw, and there's no reason for me to believe that Brendan Johnson shouldn't start, and then bring Kudus on later because he's he brings something so different from Brendan Johnson. I think it'll mess their defense up.
Yeah,
it kind of disrupts everything.
We beat them tomorrow. We get to keep them, right? So
right.
Stay with you, Al. Saul Simmons 10 or Simmons to start?
Great question. I've been the proponent of Xavi Simmons playing on the left and having Sarr back into the starting 11. I never really liked the idea of Sarr coming out of the starting 11 because I mean that dude was pretty much involved in most of our goal scoring opportunities before he was taken out. And I just think for the sake of individual skill, I think Xavi works a little bit better on the left. He's going to have the space to do Xavi things. But then again, you see a performance like he did against FC Copenhagen. You saw the freedom and how he was unleashed. He looked like a different animal. And so I kind of want to see it again. I kind of want to see it against a team like Manchester United because Xavi's got the pace where he can peel around guys like Matthias de Ligt or Harry Maguire. So from that standpoint, it's like I kind of want to see those inside 1-2s where he kind of makes a cheeky run to the box or off the right-hand side where he's just taking shots from outside. I don't know, man. That performance against for Xavi against FC Copenhagen, we saw him actually happy for the first time in his first shirt. He looked like he actually enjoyed his time. So I kind of want to see it again at the 10.
Zeus, we could play Simmons on the left. Then Sarr could play on the 10, and you could have Paulinho there, couldn't you, as well? I mean, because then it'd mean Odobert sitting on the bench, who I thought did okay. I think he's looked better every time I've watched him. I like the player. But you could play Simmons on the left, and you could really stiffen it up. You could have Simmons, Moani, and if Kudus is fair, Kudus or Johnson. And then you could go, you wouldn't like it, with a bit more of a boring midfield, in your opinion.
Like super bored? No. I mean, Simmons was at the 10 in Copenhagen, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, like I mean,
he was everywhere actually.
He was everywhere, yeah. But
when we were watching the first of the game and going to the guy next to me, he's playing in the Kudus role because he was more inside right, right. Then later on he started drifting, but he had an immense effect on the game.
I mean, like
went so
to try and keep things as similar as possible to Copenhagen, right? Which would mean, I guess, maybe free reign, number 10, whatever you want to call it. Like, I don't know, like the reports and just the feeling, the outcome, 4 goals, all of that stuff. I don't think you want to. I don't think you go away from that. Let's try and. I know United are obviously a much better team, but let's try and maintain as much of that as we can. And I think Xavi Simmons, the 10 suits him best. We need a 10. That's the position that we're crying out for. Just let him do that. Luxury player, whatever you want to call it. He's got momentum. Let's keep riding with that. Let's keep going. Right? Don't disturb it.
Alan, Simmons on the left with Bentancur, Paulinho, and Sarr. No,
I want Xavi in the 10. I personally, because I want to have Odobert on that left side, and I want Udogie. I think that triangle, they were passing. They were making these triangles, the 3 of them. It was really nice to watch.
This was where we'll see if Zeus's fear of Frank being too conservative happens tomorrow. I can see him doing it, to be honest with you, because it's Man United. I can see Simmons on the left, and then we've got the legs in midfield to counter them. I could see it happening. Every time I pick a team, I get it wrong. But we get 9 of them right, don't we? Or 8 of them. But but which is one good thing about Frank. He is hard to predict. But tomorrow, if he goes with those 3, we'll see that he's definitely got a more conservative nature against better teams. We know when we go against PSG, he's going to play 5 at the back because we did in the right, and we better sit back and try and hit them on the counter, or they will rip us to pieces, right? Yep. If they've got all their players fit and they're buzzing, you know what I mean? So it wouldn't upset me to see that more solid midfield. If we win, I won't give a shit, right? But
It'll be good to win, though. We want to win this game because
But,
they've got an
like,
international
if we
break.
draw,
Right after.
or if the worst happens, we were to lose, then we know how the fan base is going to react anyway. So, like, it doesn't really matter. But, yeah.
Well, there should also be a want to win, just considering the success we had against Manchester United last season as well too. Regardless of where where it was played, we absolutely dominated them last year. So I kind of want to see that streak continue as well too.
Yeah.
Adrian, I have to run. Thank you so much for having me.
Great to get you on. And again, I haven't got your link. Get over to Team Go for Alan, guys. There's 46 of you stayed with us.
Rakdos Madness.
When you should be, Rakdos Madness. Get over there. I haven't got your up, Steve. You've got it. Just put it in the chat, Steve. Just put it in the chat.
Yeah.
It gets more links anyway. You should bring it with you. Really, it saves me a bit of work.
Yeah.
I can't think
we wouldn't want you to work there, Adrian.
yeah. In case people think I don't do nothing behind the scenes, right? Anyway. All right,
Thanks,
Al.
guys.
Big up.
Great to
We'll
see
get you
you.
back next week. You're a regular. Steve's a regular. And
Sounds good.
let's hope we make Zeus a regular as well when he's not out on the tiles. You know what I mean? So
Hometown.
out in Ontario wreaking havoc, right? So yeah. This is a no-brainer. Zeus, he's got to start, and Marnie.
Yeah, I mean, 100%. Richarlison. I don't think do we talk about the penalty miss? Like, yeah, but Richarlison not painting himself in the brightest light, and Wani, great game, even with the misses. The fact that he's getting those chances, seems to be forming a partnership with Simmons. Yeah, like Richarlison doesn't have a prayer. Yeah, he's got to start.
Yeah, but isn't this the kind of? Don't you think this is the kind? Don't you think this is the kind of match where, because Kolo Muani played a big role against Chelsea, and also a big role against Copenhagen? Don't you think it would be so Thomas Frank if he starts Richarlison tomorrow because of the minutes that Kolo Muani has played over the last week and a half, right? So don't get me wrong. I think Kolo Muani should start regardless. But it wouldn't surprise me if we see the team sheet tomorrow and Richarlison's getting a start on top.
Or tell.
But that being said, it's like you wonder because Thomas Frank does not have a problem with rotating. Whether it's the Champions League or the Premier League, right? Like it seems like he's not going to allow certain players outside of Pedro Porro. It seems like he's not going to allow certain guys to necessarily accrue minutes beyond playing two straight. So from that standpoint, I wouldn't be surprised if he rotates at the striker position, whether that's Tell or Richarlison. Me personally, it's Kolo Muani's position. From essentially from here out. That's even when Solanke comes back.
Yeah, I mean, I could see Tell getting a few minutes coming on a sub here, Zeus, because he's not in a Champions League squad. He's got to get some time. Obviously, that will depend on how well the game's going and how well players are playing. But I can see him coming on and getting some time.
Sorry, did you guys hear me when I was talking about Wani?
Yeah.
It was a bit tinny to me. So, what's your take on this guy, Zeus?
I mean, so his numbers at Burnley before he came, they were pretty impressive. And last year, obviously not good at all because I guess injuries played a lot into it. But this year, I think, we've had issues with the left side, just like who starts there. I want to say off of last game, it seems more like his position to lose. But I super young, but I do like the I guess the initiative. Like he does want to take players on. Not super successful at it as yet. I don't know. Maybe it's a confidence thing. But the rawness is there, like the raw things I like to see. I like very offensive.
You're right about his numbers, though, because when Vincent Kompany was manager of Burnley, right, he raved about him, and he came out of the PSG academy, Odebert, and his stats then at that time. This was before the Euros, was identical to Nico Williams. Now Nico Williams kicked on, obviously, right? But I like this kid. There's just something about him. I like.
Mhm.
I think
I don't think he's not ready now, right? He's got he's got developing to do. But him and Tell for the French under-21s, they smash it when they play for them. All right, it's a different level, but you got to judge. You've got to bring in future prospects into a football club, and it is a gamble.
Yeah.
But I think go on.
Sorry. I think it's really youth. Hasn't adjusted. The last season with the injuries was just now definitely healthier, getting a better run of games. I think we will see that Burnley Odebear fairly soon. But took his goal well last game. It wouldn't hurt. It wouldn't hurt to have him in the left side. Tomorrow.
He's our only natural left winger. So if he's only one, play him there. Unless you're going to play Moani out left, and he can play on the left, believe it or not. Or
they're not going to do that.
Or Tell on the left, then you play Odebert there. But Odebert's the most natural fit on the left.
Well, but the thing about it is, of all the options that are at the disposal, he's the best at that position. And one of the things, and I couldn't agree with you. I couldn't agree more with you about that. Right. The thing about Odebear is, yes, he's still developing, but you can see the ceiling. That kid is absolutely talented. In the development, the last thing to show up is going to be the GA. But that being said, it's like I like the fact that he shows no fear. He's not afraid to take defenders on 1v1. He's not afraid, to get in, to do his best to try to get in behind. That's the thing that I like about wingers. That those young wingers that are absolutely aggressive. That are actually trying to get forward, trying to make things happen. And I think Alan actually said it right with that combination play with Destiny Doji on the overlap, and then also having a guy like Xavi Simons to play off of as well too. It allows him, to try creative runs, to try to play give and goes, those type of things. And from that standpoint, it's like I look at Wilson Odebear as essentially the only left winger on the roster. But that being said, it's like he's now at that place in his development where you can play him week in and week out, and he's not going to let you down. He's going to get better.
Predicted scores, and I'll go on to the international break and just fixtures coming up, and then we're only going to go for another 5. Right. So, Steve, your predicted score?
All right. So for the 6th straight week,
I'm going 2-1 Spurs. Right. So I'll be bold first. Right. So.
For the 6th straight week, I'm predicting a 2-2 draw, and it's because Spurs do have, especially at home, have
Get your scores in the chat.
Well, it's they have a penchant to concede at home. Inexplicably, they'll concede goals. It's a little bit different on the road. Now, if this was at Old Trafford, I would probably say a 3-1 Spurs win. But for whatever reason, I have no idea if it's a mental block. They just, for whatever reason, their form at home is not the same on the road. Coming off a performance like Chelsea and understanding the way that Manchester United is going to try to play them, which is going to be a little bit more counter-attacking football. I wonder whether or not there's going to be a goal or two from outside the box, just like Aston Villa carved us up from outside the box. And so from that standpoint, I'm going to say 2-2 draw, but I will say that Kolo Muani, and it's going to be Kolo Muani, and I'm going to say
Simmons.
Nah, like I'm not going to jinx the guy like that. But I will say Kolo Muani gets his first, and then I'm going to say Wilson Odebear with the second.
Okay. Zeus, predicted score?
I'm going to go a 3-1 Spurs win.
Huh.
I think United will score first, and then we just realize, wow, these guys are pants, and just destroy them.
Goal scorers. Come on, very fun. Goal
I have to
scorers.
say, I'm very peeved that Amorim won Manager of the Year. Manager of the Month.
Month.
It just seems it seems like very much because it's United. You know what I mean? Like, okay,
They've slipped under the radar, aren't they? They have improved, but they've slipped under.
Yeah, but
They
they
have.
got some they got some good results though. That's the
Mhm.
thing. It's like, yeah, they don't like the world on fire, but they did manage to get some pretty impressive results.
I'm not sold. I'm not sold on them. But
Neither am I. But
goal scorers, I think Mwani gets his first and Simmons gets the other two.
Yeah. Oh wow.
a double for Simmons.
Yeah.
Nice.
Get him in
I'm
your
loving
fantasy
that.
team.
I'm loving that. You're coming back next week. I'm loving that right now. Now we have the international break after tomorrow's game. So we're going to hope we get to enjoy our weekend with a win, right? And then we're going to finish with this, guys. Just get your take on this. Steve, when we come back, we got Arsenal on the 23rd. Then 3 days later, we got PSG. Then we get Fulham at home. And then Newcastle away. Then Brentford at home. December, Slavia Prague or Pravia. And then Tuesday, Forest, we got on Sunday. Well, yeah, that's on the Tuesday. Then on Sunday, we got Forest. Then the 20th, before Christmas, we got Liverpool at home. And then 2 days after Boxing Day, we got Palace away. None of them are easy, let's be fair.
Yeah, I will say that, coming back off the international break, it's not going to be easy. Arsenal does not concede goals. And I hate to say it too, because I absolutely hate Woolwich. But that being said, it's like, that team right now is playing as the best team in England right now. And they are they're going to be tough to beat at the Emirates. And same thing with PSG. But it does get a little easier right there in the mid when you get Fulham. You get Brentford, Slavia Prague, and then Forest before you get Liverpool and Palace away at Selhurst. And I don't like our chances away at Selhurst. But I will say that match against Liverpool is going to be interesting, especially if Liverpool are still not playing the way that up to Liverpool's potential. That could be a very interesting match on the 20th right there in December at home. But there are opportunities to win. But that being said, one of the things that I want to see is consistency. I think we're at that point where I think all of us would just like to see, the same team game in, game out, instead of what we've been seeing, which is, opposite ends of the spectrum from match to match. So that's kind of what I want to see, is this team just get some consistent, be a consistent team from match in, match out.
Zeus, I suppose we're all hoping, Spurs fans, if we can just hang in there to the January transfer window. We got 2 ECL games.
Just hang in there.
Just hang in there.
Yeah.
And then if we can manage to get a couple of quality players in, and we should have players coming back after the international break. We may get a look at Dragusin and Takai.
Right.
So those two, and then Becky should be on the grass in December.
Yeah.
And then I'm just going to have a headache, because if we bring a foreign player in, they're only coming in if they're going to the Champions League squad, and we can't even fit Telly and others in there as it is. We've left Kinski out before. We left Dragusin out because he was injured. So this is where he has to earn his money. So, this is why the manager gets the big bucks, right? He has to sort this out. And obviously the recruitment team they'll have their lists. No worries there.
Yeah. To me, the United game is huge, because any of these other games, especially against big teams, I can see, we could probably lose against Arsenal, PSG, you know what I mean? People go crazy if we lose those games. That's why the United one is really the big one for me. But Fulham, London derby. You expect to win, but it's a derby, right? Newcastle just brutes with Joe
Linton.
That guy,
Joe Linton.
He's something else. But these games they could go. Some of these games could go either way. So that's why I put a lot of importance on the United game. But like I said, I'm one based on winning last season. I'm not we don't have to. We're not. It's not a title charge, or you don't have to win a trophy. It's just more about Frank making us play good, consistent, attacking football kind of thing. So I'm not going to put any pressure. We got to do this, we got to do that. Would like to see some great players come in, in January. And maybe some players go out too, right? Oh, ideally, like if Richarlison leaves, that would be good.
And Basuma.
And Bissouma, I don't know. Like, I think if Bissouma was here, he would do a good job of advancing the ball, at least better than some of
He's
us.
out of contract in the summer.
Oh, he's out of
You
contract.
know,
That could okay, yeah, so it would be good for him to leave.
it's going to be interesting because I don't think the striker market is going to be favorable for Spurs in January, right? That's the problem that I have about getting rid of Richarlison.
If we were
Hold on real quick.
Yeah.
Hold on though. That's the problem that I have with getting rid of Richarlison in January is if you know that you can actually bring in another striker that's going to be at least at that level or quality. And I just think that the striker market's probably not going to be. You're not going to be able to get exactly who you want until the summer. But at that same time, you're still going to be able to bring in a winger. If you want to shore up the left side, that probably will be doable in January.
Well, there's a couple of there's a couple of things I'm keeping my eyes on actually, because we will discuss transfers in November because it's closer to January, late November that is. Is the fact that Lookman's fell out with his coaches again in Italy.
Wait, what exactly happened there? I saw it, but I didn't read it. What happened?
Well, he was taken off, and I think there was strops there and all that. And I think it's always been a testy relationship because they wanted him. Now, if he's got a bad attitude, we don't want him. But he's proven. And the other player that I've liked and banged on about for a couple of seasons, all right, he's been away for 4 years, is like the fact that Vlahovic's contract is up at the end of the season.
Oh, wow.
And he's either, now we've got Marnie and they're playing him, although he's played well there since Marnie's come to us because they couldn't cough up the money. Juve couldn't cough up the money at PSG. Yeah. So that is also another option. They both would be gettable in January. I think they're both gettable, but it's whether our recruitment team want them or not. If Lookman,
by the way,
I don't want him.
Do you think Lookman raises the? Do you think Lookman actually is the type of player that raises the profile Spurs or hits the ground running?
Well, I wasn't that impressed with him at Everton and Leicester, but that was when he was developing. But out there, he has smashed it in the Italian league. I mean, they do have good defenders out there, so he should be able to cope much better now he's developed in this league. Don't want him if he's an attitude problem, Merchant. If he is, right, you've got to do the due diligence on that as well, haven't you? Right, the player's mentality. Other than that, he is gettable. He can play across the front three. So I like Vlahovic though. I mean, like Juve want him to cut his wages, but they got him on that higher wage bill, right? And then COVID and all that affected them. They'd like him to reduce his wages. We could pay the wages he wants under our new regime. So, and I think he would be a very good addition. I think he's quality. I'll take Vlahovic over Lookman, but even Lookman would do a job for us. He would do a good job for us on the left, even on the left. So
yeah,
there's so many good wingers out there that you can get into. But you're taking a punt on them when they're like coming from foreign leagues anyway. You don't know, but
I mean, Lookman, at Atlanta, they were in the Europa League final, or they won it. I can't remember. I think they won it, right? Yeah, they did win it. I think against Bayer Leverkusen, maybe 2 seasons ago. I think he had like a very starring role in there, and he's Nigerian, so I'm kind of.
Did he get an hat-trick in that game?
Sorry, what? Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
That needs to stir a memory in me. I don't know from where.
Like he did it on a big stage, so I do like that, and I just think Vlahovic at one point, everybody was talking about him, and he didn't hit those heights. So I know Lookman didn't get it done in the Premier League, but I would rather him, after kind of what he did in the Europa.
Sometimes it's players and systems, though, and new coaches and things like that. And you get a different coach, and a player gets a new lease of life. I mean, look what mate he's doing at Barcelona, the Man United.
I wouldn't mind seeing Leao.
Yeah. Rashford.
Yeah. He's missing out there, isn't he?
Yeah. Your audio kind of went a bit out there, Adrian, but
yeah. Right,
I wouldn't
guys,
mind seeing a guy like Rafael Leao.
Yeah. Right, we're going to end the show, guys. Been going for 1 hour 40. great show, guys. It's gone so quick. I mean, I try to make it interesting with the questions and things like that. And I feed off you guys. You've been excellent and Alan excellent. So thank you to my guests. I want to thank everyone in the chat for their comments and questions. We've got 50 of you still viewing us on various platforms. Like I said before, if you weren't on when I said it earlier, there's a little red subscribe button at the bottom right-hand corner. If you can hit that, if you like our content, please hit that button and give the channel a thumbs up. It really helps the algorithm. Like I say, there's memberships if you want them, $1.99. When you're in here, you can put up super chats and super stickers if you want your question read out and the panel will go through it. You can do all that. We have got various other platforms that we use, the Facebook platform, Spurs Diehards there, TTID, Spurs Diehards, TTD in XCOM. We've got the WhatsApp group if you want to join that. We've got a Discord group if you want to join that. And I think I've linked this to about every man on the planet at the moment. And with that, I want to thank Steve and Zeus for their informed comments. And with that, I'll play you out with a bit of Spurs diehard soul music.
Ooh,
We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul. We are Tottenham till we die. We are Tottenham till we die. Spurs die, hearts, heart and soul. Lily white and navy blue.